It's the story of mice going out of their way to help those in need. A tale as old as time, a message in a bottle that started an unforgettable story, and adventures that inspired imagination. This Disney classic and its often forgotten Disney Renaissance era sequel is filled with great characters.
I won't let them do that to you again.
But in this world of humanitarians, who is the most good, and for that matter, who is the most evil? I am Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is The Rescuers 1 and 2, Good to Evil.
Nobody's gonna take a kid's freedom away while I'm around. Nobody, you hear me?
As usual, we'll be starting with the most pure and noble character and working our way down. These characters are the good. We're giving the gold medal of good to Miss Bianca and Bernard. Bianca had been the one to translate Penny's letter after it was brought from the bottle.
How? Penny?
She was clearly distressed upon reading it and immediately begged to be given the assignment. She's an adventurous woman that even in the second film craved being out in the field and being more closely involved with helping whoever needed her. She has love and respect for Bernard, playfully teasing him from time to time and having no issue following his lead when he presents a solution to a problem. As for Bernard, he had joined because he didn't want Bianca to be in danger and on her own. He was more of a handyman and janitor for the Rescue Aid Society, but he was a good man that respected what they stood for. Though he wasn't a part of the meetings initially, he still stood and sang the song, holding his hat to his chest. He had more of a cautionary approach than Miss Bianca, but that didn't mean he cared any less. In the second film, Bernard did struggle with some jealousy towards Jake, but overcame it since Cody's safety was priority. Bianca is always cheering on Bernard, even when he's still acting nervous due to his superstitions or trying to outrun a crocodile or lizard. Bernard earned some extra points too for luring Joanna to chase him, to throw off McLeach from killing Cody, and for jumping in the river to be sure Cody didn't go over the waterfall. Evinrude and the other swamp critters earned the silver medal of good. They were there during the final conflict with Medusa, helping to free Penny from the woman. They rallied together, helping Bernard and Bianca find the hideout in the first place. When Evinrude relayed the message that they needed help, they didn't hesitate to come together. While they didn't fully understand the situation, they did resent Medusa for her treatment of not only Penny, but for her disruption of their way of life. Cody was the child needing help in the second film. He was swept into trouble due to trying to protect the wildfire from a poacher by the name of McLeach. He was labeled fearless, armed with only a pocket knife, as he tried scaling cliffs and protecting the animals he encountered. In fact, the whole reason he was captured was because he fell into a trap made by McLeach. It recognized it for what it was, not buying the man's lies that it was just his pet lizard digging holes.
It's a trap.
It was during this interaction that he spotted the feather Cody was gifted by the eagle and decided to hold the boy captive. Cody hadn't relented, refusing to expose the eagle's position. He did fall for the man's bluff, escaping only to find the eagle and make sure she and her young were still safe, unintentionally luring McLeach to her. Cody's only a little lower due to his youth, limiting what he could accomplish. The fact is, he tried his best. And though he did need help in the end, he also managed to find a lot of solutions on his own. His passion for the well-being of animals would no doubt help him accomplish more heroics the older he got. The Rescue Aid Society isn't full of bad people. Quite the opposite, in fact. But we dropped them just a little lower for being hesitant about assigning anyone to Penny's case. They had doubts on Miss Bianca succeeding, as she would have been a woman by herself in the field. They didn't have much faith in Bernard, only sending him with Miss Bianca because she had picked him as her partner. Luckily, in the second film, they had more respect for the duo, even calling them some of the society's best. But due to them not being key players in helping Penny or Cody, Orville was the first to help them travel the skies. A professional, he went through every safety protocol and had a respect for the Rescue Aid Society. He ran his operation like an actual airport, operating a radio to keep ground control in the loop, holding a schedule, and having a scale to weigh bags. Even after being injured when they fly in to find Penny, he still makes sure Bernard and Bianca get on the ground safely before returning to duty. Rufus was a good cat. He was a comfort to the children at the orphanage, and he was one of the many to help Bernard and Bianca as they searched for the young girl. While a feline, he makes sure to tell the two searching for Penny that his mousetrapping days are long done, only asking that they stay out of sight so he could keep his post. He tells them about how Penny was upset at not being adopted yet, having been the only one to really bring her any hope when she almost gave up. Rufus made it clear he not only loved Penny, but all the children that came through the orphanage, watching them grow and wishing them happiness. Jake, though a capable explorer and nice enough guy, loses some points for his priorities. At the beginning of their interactions, Jake made it clear he was far more interested in Miss Bianca than he was in rescuing any kids. He made a point of showing off his skills to navigate the terrain, flirting with the woman, even when it was clear there was something between her and Bernard. But we also placed him relatively high on the list, since he did come around. When the stakes were raised, he quickly placed Cody's safety above all else, teaming up with Bernard and Bianca to help free the boy and the animals. When things were finally resolved and Bernard got the chance to propose, Jake was supportive, having a greater respect for Bernard than he did at the beginning of the film.
Well done, mate.
This may divide some people, but Penny is next. Now, Penny is not evil, but she's also not as brave or kind as many others on this list. She's just a little girl who's trying to get out of a bad situation, and if it means talking back or throwing a few punches, so be it. She has more of an innocence to her, carrying around a stuffed bear and talking to it, and being more prone to believe her captors when they told her things like she wasn't going to find a real family of her own. But in Penny's defense, she's in more of a fragile mindset than Cody. Penny was already doubting herself, and the fact that she was able to be freed and come out on top with her kidnappers being punished shows she's a survivor that knows how to fight back. It was nice to see coverage of her story did eventually get her the parents she wanted, leading to her having a happy ending. The trapped animals were an odd bunch of characters. They were a mix between worry, optimism, and an inability to show any hope. The koala in particular was the one to insist that things were impossible, but they didn't turn on one another, teaming up when Cody came up with a plan to retrieve the keys for them. Everyone had worked together to free themselves, showing that while some were reluctant to believe it was able to be done, they also didn't want to give up the idea of being freed again, rather than poached. Frank was likely the most optimistic of the bunch, resorting to using his own tail to pick the lock. But it's hard to tease him about that, when he actually managed to achieve it. While the animals weren't heroic, they were there to protect one another in a grim situation. Wilbur was well-meaning, but wasn't as on the ball as Orville was. But being voiced by the legendary John Candy, you know he'll have a plan in mind and the ability to improvise and adapt at the drop of a hat. Where Orville was all business, Wilbur liked to relax, which made Bernard doubt him in the beginning. But Wilbur pulled through. Even after he was injured and subjected to some rough treatment, he still approached everything with a sense of humor and loud energy that made him lovable. And it says a lot for his character that he refused to take no for an answer, resisting even when tied up by nurse mice.
You'll never take me alive!
Finally, we've reached the dark side. These characters are the bad and the evil. Joanna was McLeach's lizard, greedy, violent, and thriving on striking fear into others. Like many animals, she's driven by immediate need, but Joanna's want for hunting and feeding seems to go beyond survival. She attacks anything she can, be it for food or just to put whatever she's after in a state of fear. She doesn't have any care for the one who feeds and shelters her, making a game of sneaking McLeach's food. Nero and Brutus were Medusa's pet crocs in the first movie, and were some intimidating beasts to have around. Being nature's perfect predator, they could have easily ripped Penny to shreds the moment she tried escaping. But they showed to have more fun taunting the girl, making it clear they were stronger, and she was in a hopeless situation that was pretty impossible to flee from. Mr. Snoops falls very low on the list, and that shouldn't be a surprise. He was Medusa's sidekick, and was the one left behind to make sure Penny still went every day to look for the Devil's Eye diamond.
We're gonna go down in that hole.
While he helped kidnap the girl and had the most interaction with Penny, we also rank him just barely above the most wicked on this list, since he did feel bad about having her searching at high tide, knowing full well she would drown if left down in the cave. But ultimately, his greed got the better of him, leading to him turning on Medusa for his share. Medusa was a scary villain, and not just because of her fashion sense. She was cunning, manipulative, and insane. She was obsessed with having the Devil's Eye diamond in her possession, no matter what she had to do. She kidnapped a child, knowing no one else would be able to fit into the cave, and was willing to risk Penny dying if it meant having the jewel.
You get that diamond or you'll never see daylight again!
She tried using Penny's low self-esteem to make the girl feel like escaping was not only impossible, but hopeless, telling Penny no one would want to adopt a girl like her, and she should just stay with Medusa and Snoops. And anyone that could pamper and love full-grown crocodiles to the point that they respect your order leaves you as someone to be feared. McLeach takes the top villain spot. He was the antagonist in the second film. Now, unlike Medusa, who was content with forgetting about Penny when she had the diamond, only keeping her to avoid jail time, McLeach was on another level. He used Cody to track down the eagle, and once he had what he wanted, he still made a point of terrorizing Cody.
That bird's gonna make me rich.
He taunted the poor kid, dangling him above a known crocodile feeding ground and telling Cody all the Rangers would find is his body. When McLeach was unable to operate the crane anymore, thanks to Bernard, he simply pulled out a gun to try and shoot Cody so there wouldn't be any witnesses.
We got a loose end to tie up.
Thankfully, McLeach got the ending he deserved, falling into the waters himself and only avoiding being eaten by plummeting to his death over the waterfall. But what do you guys think? Who are the most good and evil characters in The Rescuers? Let us know in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that notification bell and binge our Good to Evil playlist, where we break down the morality of the characters in your favorite cartoons, shows, and movies. But most importantly, stay wicked.